Good afternoon, everyone. It's Tuesday, and it's Rookie Day, apparently, in Major League Baseball. Tuesday, May 14, 2019 is Keston Hiura Day, it looks like. And so we're going to talk about Nicky Lopez and Keston Hiura and Oscar Mercado and some more rookies that are still yet to come imminently, right? But before we do that, let's get into some news of the day and who's playing and who's on the IL and who's hot right now. How about that? First of all, on the bench today as we look for Tuesday lineups, Mitch Moreland. Mitch Moreland for the Red Sox. He's on the bench today. Lefty Freeland's pitching for Colorado at Fenway Park. And so Mitch Moreland will be on the bench in lieu of World Series 2018 MVP Steve Pearce. Also on the bench today, another first baseman, another left-handed first baseman, but for different reasons. Rizzo. Rizzo is back, the Cubby first baseman on the bench, back tightness. And so Chris Bryant will shift over to first base in lieu of Rizzo. This afternoon's game we'll talk about towards the end of the show, but Cargo was on the bench. The White Sox phenom, almost MVP this year. What about the White Sox? I mean, those guys are really hitting. And if the pitching can come around, and I want to just pause for a moment and talk about Luis Giolito and what a player Giolito is turning into for the White Sox. And so, I'm looking at this lineup, and there's a lot of hitters here. Yohan Moncada, as I was saying, is out today. He's not starting. But Moncada hit 2 home runs last night. He's hitting .289 with 9 homers and 28 RBIs. Abreu, .269 with 10 homers, 36 RBIs. We all know about Tim Anderson. He's at .322 with 12 stolen bases and 8 home runs. I mean, wow. And I've got one I want to talk about as a sleeper in a few minutes. I don't want to get into that, but the White Sox have just been, a really improving team. Giolito's 4-1 with a .355 ERA. His last 2 starts, he's pitched 14 1/3, only given up 1 earned run with 16 strikeouts. Maybe he's found something. He's throwing his changeup more this year. He's gotten away from his fastball so much, and there's about a 10-mile-per-hour difference in Lucas Giolito's fastball and his changeup. And so that changeup is really effective and is producing great results. And, if it ain't broke, why fix it, right? So I think we'll see more of that changeup from Giolito going forward. Just let you know, Moncada was on the bench today for the White Sox. So those are some folks. How about the sad news about Julio Urias? Wow. Arrested last night for domestic violence, released today under a $20,000 bond. Wow. I'm almost speechless on that one. There's baseball and then there's real life. And, of course, I've got a legal background, and I believe you're innocent until proven guilty. But these are some serious allegations, and hopefully they will be not founded, and Urias will be back on the field pitching for the Dodgers, a great talent. But this is one of those where baseball has to take a backseat to reality, right? Hopefully there's nothing to it, but if there is, the young man he needs some help. And so hopefully if there is something to it, he will get that. But sad news today out of Los Angeles that Julio Urias, the outstanding and could be soon ace of the Dodgers staff, arrested under a $20,000 bond based upon allegations involving domestic violence. Real quick, Jose Ramirez. How many Jose Ramirez fans, owners, do we have out there listening? Ramirez, goes in the top 5 of most drafts this year. Coming into today, he was 2 for his last 18. He was hitting .193 with 3 homers and 10 stolen bases. But Ramirez I'd have to say, if you had to vote on who's the biggest disappointment of the 2019 fantasy baseball season, unanimously, it's got to be Jose Ramirez. I mean, I can't think of anyone else in the major leagues with the expectation level that Ramirez had and the production that has come out of him so far. Now, if you listen to this station, Lenny Melnick Fantasy Sports, you know that long before today, I have said, Andrea Lamont has said, various other hosts have said, beware of Jose Ramirez. He has trouble hitting the off-speed pitch. Well, now he's having trouble hitting every kind of pitch. So, will he turn it around? Sure, he's got some talent, no doubt about it. The fact of the matter is, Indians dropped him to 5th in the order today. That, to me, says a lot, okay? Keep your eye on Jose Ramirez. Now, you look at it one of two ways for fantasy. It's either a chance where you give up on him and you sell low, or if you're a buyer, a speculative buyer, you buy low. And I've offered a trade up for him. If Ramirez continues at this pace, I lose. But if Ramirez would have turned around, then I win in the trade that I've offered. So, chance that you have to take, risk reward in fantasy baseball. So we'll see, but just letting you know, Ramirez is below the Mendoza line the middle of May. On the injured list today, Travis Shaw. I'm going to save my great stuff for a few minutes, okay? Travis Shaw goes to the IL. Boy, talking about a bad season. I mean, you think Ramirez is bad, and the only reason Shaw doesn't win the award for biggest disappointments because not as much was expected. Shaw comes into today hitting 163, 4 homers, 8 runs batted in. He's 0 for his last 11, spanning back to the 8th of May. And so Shaw goes on the IL, and of course a roster move had to be made. And again, I'm going to save that for just a few minutes, my next little segment. Tyler Naquin goes on the IL today, meaning that another player must come up and take his place. On a, I guess you could have expected it note, Miguel Andujar for the Yankees. Andujar started the year, then went on the IL. Since coming off the IL, he is 3 for 34. His soft contact rate, meaning ball's not hit very well, okay? Last year, 2018, was 19.4%. This year, it's up to 37.8%. Not a number you want to double, as it almost has with Miguel Andujar. Well, Aaron Boone came out today and said that he could require season-ending shoulder surgery. And so if that's the case, it's not a good day for Yankee fans. It's not a good day for Miguel Andujar owners. The Yankees have been put off. They really have. And so I can just see that this was coming. They wanted to give it every chance they could. What this means is he'll miss the rest of the year. And Ursula will become the third baseman. And so we'll see if Ursula can, I guess you'd say, hold out as he has started out for the Yankees. Now, talking about movers today. Shaw's on the IL. Naquin's on the IL. Well, that means someone has to come and take their place. I guess by now you've heard Keston Hiura, the second base prospect, number 15 in all of Major League Baseball. He has been called up by the Brewers to take the place of Travis Shaw. Well, Hiura is a great hitter, okay? Not so much a fielder. So my concern going forward is, will this stick? Or will he be a full-time player beyond the first couple of weeks? It's yet to be seen. But we do know this. He hit .333 at AAA. He's 22 years old. He's hit 11 home runs in his first 37 games. And what's interesting about Keston Hiura, he started the year striking out at a very high, alarming rate. Over the last several weeks, the strikeout rate has drastically decreased. Now, a week ago, he was white hot. Okay? Coal on the fire, hot. He's cooled off a little bit in the last week, but he's still hitting .333, a .698 slug at AAA. Now we'll see how does that translate over to the major leagues. And you don't have to look any further than Vladdy Guerrero Jr. I was listening to Lenny Melnick this morning at the 9 o'clock show, and once again, Letty says it's about time for Vladdy Guerrero Jr. to get the call up from minor leagues. I mean, of course, he's being sarcastic. He's been called up. He's just hitting 190. All right. Then you got on the other side of the pendulum, who's hurt right now, but he's expected back next week, Fernando Tatis Jr., who got the call opening day, and he's hitting 300. I mean, you just don't know with these rookies what they're going to do. The pedigree there for Hiura. I met him. I saw him play last year at High A. Okay, a year ago, right now, Keston Hiura was at High A baseball. And I think I posted a picture of Keston and myself on the web page this morning in the chat room. Great hitter again. I tell you what I noticed though last year when I watched him play at High A. He DH'd every game I watched. I never saw the kid in the field. And so my concern then and my concern now is defense. Now that doesn't matter to us fantasy guys. We just want him to hit, right? But if he can't glove it, he might not can stick it. And if he can't stick it, he's not helping us hitting the ball. So let's keep our eye on that. Of course, he's a great guy to own if you could pick him up in your league. And how Travis Shaw responds on the IL, how Travis Shaw might play at AAA or in the minor leagues to get things back on track may also have a determining factor on how long Keston Hiura is in the major leagues. Now, we do know this in the short term. Because of Hiura playing second base, that means Mike Moustakas will become the full-time third baseman, which is his natural position. He's done a fairly good job at second base this year. The great thing for fantasy owners is he's already qualified in most leagues I know of to play second base next year. So Moustakas will be a third base, second base option as we head into 2020. Kiera will be in that lineup probably tonight. Take a look. Let's see how he does. You never know. I also told you Tyler Naquin is on the IL. And what that means is, ripple effect, is Oscar Mercado called up. We've been talking about this for about a week now. When would it happen? But I'm not big on Mercado. I'm not. I mean, in fact, I want to make sure, and I know it's one at bat, Arnie. I got that. It's one at bat. But I watched his first at bat today against Manny Benuelos for the White Sox. And he looked lost. He was swinging one ball that was outside and high, probably 6 to 8 inches off the plate. He struck out on a ball that hit the ground, and it was probably close to hitting his foot. It broke in so much. The thing about Mercado is he's the 19th best prospect that the Cleveland Indians have. 19th best prospect of the Indians. Not known for his power. If you look, he's a 45 hit, 40 power guy rated, which means below average on both. His main calling card is defense and speed. Great if you need stolen bases, but he's got to get on base to steal a base, right? I'm just not big on this kid. I mean, if you want to go get him for your fantasy leagues, take a chance, but I'm not going to do that. I'm not picking him up in any league. I had the opportunity. In fact, in 2 leagues that I'm on where you could just go and pick players up anytime you want, he's still on the waiver wire. 1 league he was picked up, but not big on him. I am big on this next guy, though, and I think this is the sleeper of the 3 that were called up today. Nicky Lopez for Kansas City. Yeah, Nicky Lopez. Nicky is going to be playing second base going forward for Kansas City. And what I found interesting was how this all went down. There was some talk over the weekend. I was reading from the MLB site, which, fairly accurate, right? You at least think that there was, earlier that like a week ago, there was talk that there was no room for Nicky Lopez on the 25-man roster, yet today he's called up. Jake Newberry's option to Omaha, and another move will have to be made later today so that Lopez can be on the 40-man roster. But Dayton Moore, the general manager, said this just this past Saturday, 3 days ago, that the Royals were concerned about wear and tear on Whit Merrifield if he played the outfield full-time, which is why they moved him back to second base in mid-April. And that move back to second base blocked any move of Lopez to being called up. He's only played shortstop and second base. He's not going to play shortstop. Alberto Mondesi plays there, So it's either second base or nothing. And as of Saturday, Moore said he would not do it. Well, then on Sunday night,